Welcome back, everybody. We're diving into a really wild one today, the unsolved murder of Artemis Ogletree. It happened way back in 1935, and it's a case, well, it's got more twists and turns than a mountain road. So strap in, because we're about to see if we can untangle this mess.
This case, it's especially intriguing when you think about, well, the backdrop of the Depression. Think about it. People were hitting rock bottom, desperate, on the move, constantly.
Yeah.
And that kind of an environment, well, let's just say it breeds trouble.
No doubt about it. So let's start with the basics. What do we know? A guy calling himself Roland T. Owen checks into the hotel president in Kansas City. Later on, we find out this is actually Artemis Ogletree, but right away, something's not right about this guy.
Oh, absolutely. Right off the bat, red flags everywhere.
Yeah.
Think about it. He asks for a room, an interior room, no windows, shows up with no luggage, like he's just passing through, and insists on keeping the lights dim, shades drawn all the time. It's like he's trying to disappear.
Like he's hiding from something.
Exactly.
Or someone. And then there are those notes left for Dawn. Dawn, I will be back in 15 minutes. Wait, almost like a scene straight out of the spy flick, right?
It definitely adds to the whole mysterious vibe, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
And you combine that with what the hotel staff noticed about this Ogletree guy, his thing for the dark, the way he was acting all nervous and jumpy. It really paints a picture of someone who's, well, living on the edge.
Like he knew trouble was coming his way.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was constantly looking over his shoulder.
Okay, so then things really kick off on the night of January 3rd up on the 10th floor of the hotel. Reports of loud parties, a commercial woman seen going in and out of Ogletree's room a bunch of times. And just so everyone knows, commercial woman, that was a common way to say prostitute back then. Even the elevator operator remembers this woman coming and going from Ogletree's room.
So he's not just holed up in there, right? He's out and about, meeting people, possibly getting involved in some shady stuff.
Yeah.
Don't forget, this was during Prohibition, and Kansas City was known for its, well, less than legal activities. Gangsters, speakeasies, that whole scene. So this commercial woman, she could have been connected to that world,
Wow, I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah, maybe bringing more than just companionship to Ogletree's room.
That's a good point. But then, get this, there's this encounter with Robert Lane, just a regular city worker. He picks up a guy, all bloody and agitated, who matches Ogletree's description. And this is on the same night, mind you.
Hold on. The same night as the parties and the commercial woman.
The very same.
Wow.
And here's the kicker, the guy tells Lane that he's gonna kill someone the next day.
No, that's chilling.
Chilling is right.
We don't know for sure if that guy Lane picked up was actually Ogletree, of course. But the timing, the description, and that threat, it's hard to ignore, right?
Definitely not a coincidence.
Makes you wonder, if it was Ogletree, who was he planning to kill, and why?
The next morning, January 4th, things go from bad to worse. The hotel staff tries to check on Ogletree, but his door's locked, and there's a do not disturb sign hanging on the knob.
And they finally get in, and it's a brutal scene.
They find Ogletree on the floor, tied up and beaten badly.
Blood everywhere, phone ripped off the wall, the whole 9 yards.
But, and this is the crazy part, despite being in such bad shape, Ogletree insists that he just fell and hit his head.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, right?
A simple fall doesn't do that kind of damage.
Exactly, it's obvious he was attacked.
But why lie about it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Maybe trying to protect someone. Or maybe he was scared of something even worse if he told the truth.
Either way, it's definitely suspicious. The cops are called in, and they hit a wall right away. The room's practically empty. No personal stuff, no luggage, nothing. Just a lone necktie tag, maybe a clue to who he was.
So a classic case of a man with secrets.
Exactly.
And those secrets are right at the heart of this murder mystery.
They managed to lift fingerprints from the phone, but back in 1935, well, fingerprint databases weren't what they are today. It wasn't like you could just snap your fingers and get an ID.
So the police are basically fumbling in the dark.
Pretty much. No ID, no leads, they're stumped. They're about ready to bury Roland T. Owen in a pauper's grave. But then, plot twist. An anonymous benefactor pops up, claiming to know why Ogletree was killed.
You're kidding.
Nope. This mystery person pays for a proper funeral, even sends flowers signed, Love Forever, Louise.
Hold on. Louise.
Yeah.
Who is this Louise?
Hmm.
A girlfriend?
We don't know.
Maybe involved somehow.
And why all the secrecy?
Why not just tell the police what they know?
Exactly. It's like something straight out of a detective novel, right?
This whole thing just got a whole lot more complicated.
It's like a whole soap opera just erupted in the middle of this murder investigation.
Right, and we still don't know who this Louise is.
Or what her role in all this was.
Could be a lover, could be an accomplice, could be something else. Yeah, who knows? But even with this mystery benefactor and a proper burial, the case was going cold. Until, that is, a breakthrough came from a totally unexpected source. Ogletree's mom, Ruby Ogletree.
Ah, yes, the mother's intuition.
She sees a picture of Roland T. Owen in the newspaper, and something clicks. There's a scar on his head, a very distinctive scar. And she knows right then and there that it's her son, Artemis.
The boy who left Alabama to hitchhike to California and just disappeared.
Vanished off the face of the earth until that newspaper photo.
Imagine that, finding out your son is dead from a newspaper article.
Horrible.
Not a phone call, not a visit, just a random article, and under such bizarre circumstances, too.
It's heartbreaking, and if that wasn't enough, things take an even weirder turn. After Artemis's death, Ruby starts getting letters supposedly from Artemis.
Wait, what? From Artemis, but he's dead.
That's what's so strange about it. One letter's typed, postmarked from Chicago.
Chicago.
Another one is a special delivery from New York City.
New York, so he was all over the place. Apparently so. And then there's this crazy phone call from Memphis mentioning Artemis being in Cairo.
Cairo? Like Egypt.
Egypt. It's almost like someone was trying to create this elaborate fake trail.
To throw everyone off the scent.
Exactly, like a smokescreen.
Was this some cruel joke? Or was there a darker reason behind these messages?
Tough to say for sure, but the timing, the content, it all seems very deliberate. If Artemis really was sending these letters, you'd think there'd be some record of him traveling overseas.
You'd think so, right? Passports, tickets, something.
But steamship companies back then, they have no record of him ever leaving the country.
So either those letters are fakes, or someone went through a lot of trouble to cover up his tracks.
It just gets more and more twisted, doesn't it?
This case is like a tangled web.
And remember how we talked about Ogletree maybe having a secret life? Well, it turns out our mysterious Roland T. Owen wasn't just hiding out at the Hotel President. He also stayed at another hotel in Kansas City, the St. Regis, sharing a room with a man, and we don't know who this guy was.
So not just Dawn and Louise. Now we have another mystery person in the mix.
Another piece of the puzzle.
Could this roommate be the key to figuring out Ogletree's double life? Maybe he knew Dawn or Louise.
It's possible, but buckle up because here's where things get really juicy.
Juicy.
Oh, yeah. Remember how we said this case takes us all the way to New York City?
You did mention that.
Well, 2 years after Ogletree's murder, in 1937, a man named Joseph Martin gets arrested in New York for murdering his roommate and trying to ship the body to Memphis in a trunk.
Hold on. Murdering his roommate and shipping the body. That's a whole other story.
Oh, it is. But here's the crazy part. One of his many aliases was Donald Kelso.
Donald, as in Dawn. The Dawn from those notes.
Ding, 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 we have a winner. And get this, the Kansas City cops find some striking similarities between Martin's handwriting and the handwriting in those letters sent to Ruby Ogletree.
No way. Way. So Donald Kelso, this Joseph Martin guy, was involved in both murders.
It's looking more and more likely, isn't it?
But even if Donald Kelso and the Don from the notes are the same guy, we still don't know why he would want Ogletree dead.
True. And then there's the whole mystery roommate from the St. Regis.
It's like every time we think we're getting close, another layer pops up.
It's like those Russian nesting dolls.
Ogletree's life and death were way more complicated than anyone imagined.
That's for sure. And speaking of complicated, we can't forget about that historian, John Horner, from the Kansas City Public Library, remember?
Oh yeah, John Horner.
He spent years digging into the Ogletree case, even wrote a whole blog about it.
That's dedication.
He was the one who got that strange phone call, right, about the shoebox.
The shoebox, yeah.
The caller claimed to have this shoebox filled with newspaper clippings about the case, and a mysterious item that was mentioned in those clippings.
But they wouldn't say what the item was.
Or who they were.
So we're left with another mystery within a mystery.
What's in that box? Could it be a photograph? A diary? A weapon, maybe?
Could be anything.
Could it be the missing piece that finally cracks this whole case wide open?
It's possible.
It's that possibility, that chance to uncover the truth, that keeps this cold case alive, even after all these years.
It's a reminder that some mysteries never truly die. Some mysteries, they just dig their claws in and refuse to let go. like this one.
Right, we've got more questions than answers at this point.
So let's take a step back and look at the main theories about what happened to Artemis Ogletree. One popular theory is the good old revenge plot. You know, a scorned lover, a broken engagement, that kind of thing.
Love gone wrong, but with deadly consequences.
Exactly.
So who would be the scorned lover in this scenario?
Well, some folks believe Louise might be the key.
Louise, the flower sender.
One and the same. Maybe she was the one Ogletree left behind. Or maybe she was the fiancée herself.
And what about Don? Where does he fit in?
Good question. In this theory, Don could be anyone, really. A jealous friend, a protective brother, maybe even someone hired to carry out the revenge.
So a classic love triangle gone bad, fueled by jealousy and rage.
Exactly.
But let's say we move away from the love triangle idea. There's another theory that's been floating around, organized crime.
Yes, that's a popular one. Especially when you consider the time period and the name Dawn.
Right, the 1930s, the era of gangsters and bootleggers.
And Kansas City was a hub for all sorts of illegal activity back then.
So Ogletree could have gotten mixed up with the wrong crowd.
Absolutely.
Maybe he owed someone money, crossed a powerful figure.
Or maybe he witnessed something he shouldn't have.
And let's not forget about the mystery roommate from the St. Regis.
Right, the roommate.
Could he have been connected to the criminal underworld?
We just don't know enough about him. But his presence definitely adds another layer of intrigue.
For sure. And then, of course, there's the whole Donald Kelso connection, the guy arrested in New York for murder. The fact that he used the alias Don and his handwriting matched the letters sent to Ruby Ogletree.
Yeah, it's a pretty big coincidence, if you ask me.
It's too big to ignore, right?
It's almost like the pieces are all there, we just need to figure out how they fit together.
Exactly.
But even if we could prove that Donald Kelso was the Don from those notes, we still wouldn't know his motive for killing Ogletree.
Right, we'd still be missing a big chunk of the story. So we've got the revenge theory, the organized crime angle, and the possible involvement of Donald Kelso. But what about a more personal motive? Could Don have been someone Ogletree knew personally?
Oh, absolutely. Someone with a grudge, a reason to want him dead.
A jealous lover, a business rival, someone seeking revenge for a past wrong.
Any of those could fit the bill.
And the commercial win.
Yeah.
Maybe she was more than just a witness. Maybe she was an accomplice, or even the one who planned the whole thing.
It's a real head-scratcher, isn't it?
It's like we're peeling back the layers of an onion, but with every layer we find more questions.
More mysteries within mysteries.
And that brings us back to that one piece of evidence that still has everyone buzzing. The mysterious item in the shoebox.
The shoebox?
What do you think is in that box? A photograph, a diary, a weapon, maybe?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Could it be the missing link? The key to finally solving Artemis Ogletree's murder?
It's possible.
And that's what makes this whole case so captivating. The chance to uncover the truth, to finally solve the puzzle.
Even after all these years, the mystery endures.
It's a reminder that some stories never really end. They just keep unfolding, waiting for someone to unravel their secrets.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this. What would you hope to find in that shoebox? And what would it tell us about the life and death of Artemis Ogletree?
Think about it, folks, and let us know your theories. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those questions coming.